Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 80 based on novel. So let's start. Success. The woman also slightly exuded an air of extreme joy and then asked. His grandma's. Xiao Yan sat down on his butt and then gasped heavily, apparently also in shock. At the last moment just now, Xiao Yan clearly felt that above the palm, an irresistible force came out of nowhere, and it was about to tear the palm of the black Xiao Yan. But it was at that moment, the moment the stick appeared, with the stick in the palm, and then abruptly moved towards the origin of life stone. This time, it was much easier. When the palm of the hand touched the source of life stone, it seemed to be trying to penetrate it. But at the next moment, a gentle force emanated from the palm of the hand, and then there was a slight movement in the source of life stone, and the palm took the source of life stone away, along with the mysterious round object, and the wooden stick also replaced the position of the source of life. But one thing is fortunate, that the terrifying plants on the ground were also blocked by his master, the Golden Dragon King, when they were about to attack his palm. Otherwise, Xiao Yan would not be so smooth. However, although this seems very simple, the level of complexity in it, I am afraid that Xiao Yan thinks about it now, but he has enough energy. After all, Black Xiao Yan is also a clone of his soul power. If he loses a palm, his soul power will also be greatly damaged. If he attacks Xiao Yan at that time, it will probably cause considerable trouble. But luckily that didn't happen. Xiao Yan is also quite fortunate for one thing. Then he is also quite handy with the use of the handprints in this space. It's fine. The Golden Dragon King also walked up quickly, then circled around Xiao Yan and said with satisfaction, after finding that there was nothing missing. This Xiao Yan's courage is still his mind, and the Golden Dragon King appreciates it. This small action of the Golden Dragon King, his master, is also warm in Xiao Yan's eyes. After all, the source of life is also an extremely important thing for the Golden Dragon King. Now the Golden Dragon King does not see life at first sight. Originium, but to check Xiao Yan's body for any injuries. Thank you very much. White Xiao Yan also said slowly to Black Xiao Yan. Obviously, in the situation just now, it was also the strength that the two of them showed together, and it was immediately said. You and I were originally one, so why should I thank you for this? Black Xiao Yan also smiled casually, and the next moment, without waiting for White Xiao Yan to speak, he suddenly turned into a force and returned to his soul. Within the sea. Fortunately not to be humiliated. The next moment, Xiao Yan also said to the woman. I was the one who miscalculated before. I didn't expect this place to be so terrifying. Otherwise, I wouldn't let you risk your life. The Golden Dragon King also said solemnly. Master, don't worry, I have my own measure. After Xiao Yan finished speaking, he also slowly raised his palm. At this time, a rather exquisite stone also appeared on Xiao Yan's palm. Along with the appearance of the stone, there is a round thing like a bucket attached to the stone. This is the origin of life stone. The Golden Dragon King also looked away, then stared at the origin of life stone in Xiao Yan's hand and muttered. Don't forget to promise me. The remaining power in the immortal sword was also aware of the situation in front of him, and without speaking, it turned into a beam of light, and returned to the immortal sword. The battle just now consumed a lot of her strength, so she simply did not fight Xiao Yan and the others. After all, she could not fight if she wanted to. Master, do you really want to give some of the power to this fairy sword? Xiao Yan also saw that the woman returned to the fairy sword, and then whispered. That's natural. That fairy sword is a rare treasure. If it wasn't a semi-finished product, I'm afraid it would be very valuable. The Golden Dragon King also laughed. And don't worry, the function of this source of life stone is not just as simple as refining weapons. A weapon tempered with this origin of life stone will also have some attributes of this origin of life stone on the weapon. So if this immortal sword is tempered in the future, it will be a huge help. Jin Long also smiled at the immortal sword immortal after he finished speaking. Master, what exactly is this source of life stone? The next moment, Xiao Yan was also puzzled. This is exactly what I want to tell you. After the Golden Dragon King finished speaking, there was a lot of vicissitudes in his voice. Master, you. Xiao Yan also discovered some of the Golden Dragon King's emotions, and immediately asked. I'm fine, I just remembered some bad things. But I am also very at ease with you. I'm afraid that old fellow Tuor's eyesight has to be admired even by me. The Golden Dragon King also had a bit of fog in his pupils. After Xiao Yang felt it, he was greatly surprised in his heart. This Golden Dragon King is extremely arrogant. To allow such an arrogant Golden Dragon King to treat Tuor like this, it only means that the two of them can be called life and death. Hey, I'm wrong, let's talk about business. The Golden Dragon King also found that he was emotional. He coughed a few words and then said. This source of life stone is a stone with enormous vitality. This kind of vitality seems too slim to you now, but I believe you will know the secret in the future. The biggest function of this source of life stone is the power of life. You know, when I was controlled and sealed by those foreign evil races, I lost a lot of my original power, even my vitality. And this source of life stone is also a great supplement. With it, I can also return to the peak state of my soul power. The Golden Dragon King's voice also became stronger. This thing. It's so terrifying. You don't need to ask Xiao Yang to know that this source of life stone is also a great supplement to his master, the Golden Dragon King. Once his master, the Golden Dragon King, has recovered to the pinnacle of his soul power, with time, after he has obtained a holy flame, he will condense his body for it, which is also a real rebirth. Maybe from today, I will have to retreat. Because I felt some familiar aura, I had to make some preparations in advance. The Golden Dragon King also said solemnly. Master, don't worry, the disciple will surely condense a body for you when you are out of the gate. Xiao Yang also said. I don't doubt that you are this kid's potential. I just think that in the days when you're not around, you also need to practice hard. If you're lazy, I can't spare you. The Golden Dragon King also laughed. The disciple takes orders. Xiao Yang also said, although his master Jin Long King said so, but Xiao Yang could also feel the concern from the bottom of his heart from that smile. Just as Yao Lao cared about him on the Do Chi continent back then. Long Yi, I know your purpose for following me, but I can also tell you clearly, if you follow me faithfully and rule the Dragon Clan in the future, you will definitely be benefited, and Xiao Yang is also to some extent. My disciple, you should know how to do it, right? The next moment, the Golden Dragon King also slowly said to Long Yi who was beside him. My lord, I know what to do. Long Yi also smiled, but his heart was already blooming with joy. Obviously, Long Yi is also quite happy. After all, the Dragon Clan is a place where strong people gather. Every dragon from other planes takes entering the Dragon Clan as the highest honor. Long Yi is no exception. It's just that Long Yi's strength is too weak, and his own dragon blood is too weak. So if you want to join this dragon family, it will be more difficult than ascending to the sky. But following Xiao Yang, it is different. Even Long Yi is very happy with the strength this kid is showing now. If he follows this kid, then the Golden Dragon King will be resurrected in the future, and he will join the Dragon Clan. There may be some great benefits as well. By that time, Yu Yulong men will be just around the corner. That's why Long Yi is so happy. When I'm away, Remember to take good care of yourself. The Golden Dragon King also said slowly. Yes. Xiao Yang heard the words. His pupils also became a little wet. Obviously he had just arrived in this strange world. If it wasn't for his master, the Golden Dragon King, he probably wouldn't know where he was. Although you are only a 4-star Do Emperor at this time, the power of life is not a bad idea. After the Golden Dragon King finished speaking, he also exuded a golden Do Chi, and then closed his eyes slightly, facing the man in the palm of his hand. The source of life is gone. The next moment, an extremely huge life force was also emitted from the source of life stone, and then slowly injected into the circular object. Next. After doing all this, the Golden Dragon King also laughed. Master, this. As soon as Xiao Yang took over, he felt an extremely strong force emanating from this round object. This thing is called Sheng Shuiyun, and it is a thing specially used to preserve medicinal power. As for the power of life, the effect is extremely terrifying. Even if it is you now, you will have a qualitative leap after absorbing it. After all, this is a power that can only be absorbed by the powerhouses of the Dozian level. Soul power, so I can rest assured that you can absorb it. The Golden Dragon King also said. Furthermore, here is the core area of the entire Xianling Emperor Pond, and the effect of soaking here will be even better than outside. And with this power of life, it is also a matter of course for the stepping stone of the 6-star Do Emperor. Even the 5-star Do D can be touched. The Golden Dragon King also said. Xiao Yang was overjoyed when he heard this. Even if it was the diluted life force in front of him, the intensity of its energy was even greater than anything Xiao Yang had ever seen before. With such a huge power, I am afraid that it can also impact the level of the perfection level of the 4-star Do Emperor. Yes. Xiao Yang heard the words and said the same. Then I'm leaving. The Golden Dragon King also glanced at Xiao Yang slowly, and then no longer hesitated, with the rather strange shape of the source of life stone in his hand, and poured directly into the Emperor Yang ring in Xiao Yang's hand among them, and his own soul also followed the source of life into the Emperor Flame ring instantly. The next moment, Xiao Yang also felt that, in his Emperor Flame ring, in a dark space, a huge golden hood also appeared. Obviously, this is his master Jinlong King devouring the source of life stone and restoring his origin. Force. Let's do the right thing, after all, it's a lot of time lost. Xiao Yang also said slowly after a short stay. Don't worry, there's me too. Long Yi also found that Xiao Yang seemed a little lost, and then said slowly. Yes. Xiao Yang also responded with a sound, then picked up the Xing Shuiyun in his hand and observed it carefully. This water cloud looks like a vessel with a ring-shaped edge. The edges are ring-shaped, and the middle sinks. In the vessel at this time, the colorless and transparent water also stood slowly and quietly. Although it is extremely small, the terrifying power contained in it is exuded without the slightest concealment. This is really a good thing. Xiao Yang also murmured. The seemingly weak life force in his hands. If Xiao Yang had not possessed as many as 23 kinds of different fires and a huge soul force, he would not dare to absorb it rashly. Otherwise, if you can't absorb such a huge amount of power, you'll have to explode and die. Fortunately, Xiao Yang had enough confidence to absorb this power, and immediately put the vessel down, and then slowly sat cross-legged. If he wanted to absorb this life force, Xiao Yang also had to make sure of everything. After all, this kind of opportunity was rare. Xiao Yang sat down cross-legged, then took out many high-level medicinal pills and slowly placed them in front of him. The space here is really strange. It can't recover any trace of Do Qi, and the body of Do Emperor cannot be used. Xiao Yang also murmured, and the next moment Xiao Yang no longer hesitated, and suddenly took those medicinal pills slowly. To swallow it. Immediately after taking the medicine pill, an extremely gentle force instantly swam in Xiao Yang's body, roaming among Xiao Yang's limbs. At that time, the parts of Xiao Yang's body where the fighting qi was exhausted were slowly recovering the fighting qi, and the medicinal power was constantly swimming. King. The fat and thin brothers and sisters failed. A man dressed in plain clothes also swayed the feather fan in his palm slightly. Trash. My Xianling royal family has nurtured them for so long, yet I can't even handle this trivial matter. On the throne, King Xianling was also instantly furious. The extremely expensive night pearl on the palm was also crushed instantly and turned into powder in the hall. King, calm down. Wen Zi also said. How are the preparations for the crusade against the Medusa family? The next moment, King Xianling suddenly raised his head and asked. The dragon-loving legion has already gathered 5 people. The remaining 5 people are also being summoned. Once these 5 people are gathered together, they can also set off to crusade Medusa at that time. It's just. Before Wen Zi finished speaking, his tone became extremely strange. Just what? King Xianling also snorted coldly. Among the dragon-loving legions, many people seem to be very dissatisfied with your rule. Wen Zi said slowly without hesitation. Damn it. After this success, I will make you all willingly bow your heads and serve as ministers. After King Xianling finished speaking, his eyes became fierce. Go on, prepare for the auction first. King Xianling also remembered something, and then said slowly. Yes, my king. Wen Zi also replied softly, and then left the next moment. At this time, in the great hall, the gold and blue were brilliant, and only King Xianling was left on the throne. He didn't know what to think. In another place, in an extremely delicate room, Elder Zhu also opened his eyes and murmured, there are still 20 days. On the periphery of the Xianling Emperor Pond, the 9 fishes playing the dragon formation is impressively guarding the entrance to the Xianling Emperor Pond. But at this time, at the entrance of the Xianling Emperor Pond, a black figure filled with a terrifying aura slowly stood there, as if waiting for someone. The black figure is not in a hurry, sits on the ground, and then closes his eyes slightly. This is so, even if there is any trouble here, it will be the first time. Within the Xianling Emperor Pond, Mu Yingying and Mu Feng also had their own experiences. Since Mu Yingying entered the Xianling Emperor Pond, a rather greedy aura has also emanated from her body. What about Xiao Yang and the others? After being separated by that mysterious irresistible force, Mu Yingying also found herself on a rock. There is only a very calm sea around. Mixed with golden sea water, there seems to be a mysterious power in the sea water, which makes Mu Yingying also curious about this golden sea water. Xiao Yang and I should have been distracted by the power in the Xianling Emperor Pond. Mu Yingying also moved her lips slightly, and then she muttered to herself. The next moment, Mu Yingying also gently touched the golden sea water with her finger. An extremely special power also spread through Mu Yingying's whole body. What a strong power! No wonder. Mu Yingying also laughed. The next moment, on Mu Yingying, the terrifying half-step 5-star fighting emperor level strength also burst out in an instant, and the blue flame also slowly attached to Mu Yingying. The 3,000 silks plus, that are as holy as a fire elf. It seems that the 2 of them are also separated from me. Mu Yingying also radiated her enormous power just now, trying to find Xiao Yang and Mu Feng, but found that she could not find their breath. This mysterious spirit. The area of the imperial pond is also very large. What a pretty woman! A little loli also slowly emerged from the water, revealing a pair of eyes above the water, but the strange thing is that the pupils of this little loli actually scattered some extremely twisted taste. After carefully checking that there was no one around, Mu Yingying was also relieved, and then suddenly sat on the reef, rolled up her skirt, and revealed her extremely white jade feet. Sitting down slightly, Yuzu stepped into the golden Xianling Emperor pond. The cold feeling spread all over the body, but the next moment, an extremely pure power also slowly flowed to him along the jade feet. This Xianling Emperor pond is really different. However, the energy density here can be a little too low. It seems that it is not a waste to find a place with a higher energy level. Mu Yingying had a plan, but she did not leave immediately, but her jade feet slightly swinging, and then splashing pieces of water, Mu Yingying's lips parted slightly, revealing an extremely rare smile. With that smile, her eyes moved slightly, like a fairy. If I had to say it bluntly, smile all over the city, and smile all over the country. This is the best metaphor. After playing for a while, Mu Yingying also sat on the reef, and then a rather exquisite jade bottle appeared out of thin air in the palm of her hand. Inside the jade bottle, an elixir also slowly appeared in it. The elixir had quite exquisite patterns, and even through the jade bottle, one could smell a rushing fragrance. If Xiao Yang was here, he would be able to realize that this medicinal pill would be the Do-Di pill. Moreover, Xiao Yang could know by just a glance that the rank of the Do-Di pill in front of him was close to perfect. Because the exquisite lines on this Do-Di pill obviously illustrate a truth. That is the refiner who refines this medicine pill. His strength is definitely not bad. What is even more terrifying is that even Xiao Yang can't compare to this medicine refining technology. Do-Di pill. Mu Yingying also stared blankly at the pill in front of her, and then said slowly, Do-Di Dan is the reward for the top 3 in the points looting competition. Xiao Yang, Mu Yingying and Mu Feng, each of them has one. It's just that before entering the Xianling royal family, Zhu Lao secretly gave the Do-Di pill to Mu Yingying and Mu Feng. But it was the only one who didn't give it to Xiao Yang. Because the purpose of this Do-Di pill is to directly raise the powerhouse below the 5-star Do-Di level by 1 level. Before Xiao Yang was only in the middle stage of the 4-star Do-Di, Zhu Lao was also afraid that Xiao Yang could not eat hot tofu in a hurry. So he did not give it to Xiao Yang rashly, for fear that he would swallow it now. Otherwise, this Do-Di pill is also used to break through 5-star Do-Di, the most friendly. And Mu Yingying is already at the half-step 5-star Do Emperor level, and Mu Feng is also the strength of the late 4-star Do Emperor. So Zhu Lao also gave them the Do Emperor pill of the two. As for Xiao Yang, he has to at least wait for a breakthrough. After the late 4-star Do-Di, Zhu Lao will only give it. I'm already a half-step 5-star Do Emperor. I don't know if I can break through to the mid-5-star Do Emperor with this Do-Di pill. The next moment, Mu Yingying also came back to her senses, and then slowly held her hand. Do-Di Dan Dao In. Although this Do-Di pill is only useful for the 5-star Do-Di and below, it is already a half-step 5-star Do-Di. So it is also within the scope of use. It is best to find a place with strong energy. In that case, the grasp is also much greater. With a plan, Mu Yingying also plans to fly away, because Mu Yingying also felt it in the dark. There is also a place with a lot of energy in this Xianling Emperor pond. Surrounded by azure flames, he stood up abruptly, his toes a little, and he walked on the water. As if a dragonfly touches the water, it is quite light. He, miss, don't leave. Stay and play with me, okay? A clear voice echoed beside Mu Yingying. Who is it? Mu Yingying is also paying attention to the situation around her at all times. The moment this voice appeared, even with Mu Yingying's current half-step 5-star fighting emperor level strength, she was quite puzzled. Because according to Mu Yingying's perception, the source of this sound is actually from all directions. Can't find the source of the sound at all. The unknown is the worst. But at this moment, Mu Yingying showed her extremely decisive side. An azure blue flame spread out instantly, and then slowly turned into a pair of armor on top of the body. With this flame armor, Mu Yingying also had some calmness. Then he stopped, his toes on the water, and then my Mu slowly glanced around. What a weird flame. It's actually the same as the flame on that human kid. Little Loli's voice was also heard, and the next moment, a huge vortex appeared on the surface of the water. Seeing this, Mu Yingying also became vigilant, because the source of that voice was the center of the vortex. What a terrifying wave. Mu Yingying's beautiful eyes wrinkled slightly, and then stared intently at the vortex swirling above the water surface. In that vortex, there is an extremely small figure. Gulu Gulu. Huge blisters also emanated from the center of the vortex, and the next moment, the figure of the little Loli also appeared. The first thing that caught Mu Yingying's eyes was a very small figure. It seemed that this figure was not even 1 meter tall. Compared with Mu Yingying, she looked really short, but the delicate face of little Loli also surprised Mu Yingying, with watery eyes and hair. It is shoulder-length short hair, and a black evening dress, is also a perfect way to show the newly developed figure. Besides, what attracted the most attention on this woman was the big eyes. Mu Yingying stared at it for a while, but also found that she seemed a little sloppy, and immediately shook her head violently, trying to make herself a little more awake. And then the next moment, he also said, "Who are you? And listening to your tone just now, you seem to have met another person with a flame besides me. Where is he?" Mu Yingying also didn't give little Loli a chance to breathe, and then asked a series of questions. Because the only people who entered the Xianling Emperor Pond were the 3 of them in the incense pavilion. If they also possessed the same flame power, it could only be Xiao Yan. "Big sister, you ask such a question in one breath, how can I remember it?" Little Loli also looked harmless, her big watery eyes staring at Mu Yingying fiercely. "Who the are you?" Mu Yingying didn't look directly into the big watery eyes of the little Loli. "You don't need to know who I am." Little Loli also concealed her smile, and said to Mu Yingying. "Humph." Mu Yingying snorted coldly, and then the blue flames suddenly spun around her body, and the next moment, it turned into a spear and attacked the little Loli viciously away. The azure blue energy flame spear suddenly came to little Loli's side the next moment, and surprisingly, the majestic spear stagnated around little Loli. "Big sister, why don't you do anything if you don't agree? No one likes girls who fight and kill." Little Loli also made a slight voice, and then she waved her fleshy palm lightly, and then Mu Yingying attacked. The energy spear that came here also turned into powder all over the sky, floating on the sea surface. Damn! Seeing this, Mu Yingying suddenly realized something. Because of the blow that little Loli just made, it seems simple, but in fact it contains extremely terrifying power to make it possible. Because Mu Yingying is already at the half-step 5-star Do Emperor level at this time, even the ordinary 5-star Do Emperor late stage is quite difficult to deal with. How could it be thought that the seemingly weak woman in front of her had such a terrifying power in her body? By the way, the person who has the same flame as you, big sister, he may die without a burial when he enters a mysterious place. Little Loli also said slowly. "Humph. It's a mystery." Mu Yingying also snorted coldly, but at this time Mu Yingying knew that she was not the opponent of this little Loli in front of her, so she immediately had the intention of retreating. This Xianling Emperor Pond hasn't come to such a beautiful person for many years. "Big sister, can you stay with me?" Little Loli's pupils also slowly emitted a wave, and then she stared at Mu Yingying, saying a word, one sentence. "I will not accompany you." Mu Yingying also said softly, and the next moment, her speed suddenly skyrocketed, trying to escape from this little Loli. "I have existed in this Xianling Emperor Pond for 1,000 years, and nowhere in this place can escape my perception, so it's better to give up." The next moment, little Loli's figure also bent down and disappeared above the water. When Mu Yingying heard the words, she did not feel discouraged at all, but continued to speed up and escape from the place where this little Loli existed. Hoo. After Mu Yingying's speed increased, she kept walking for a few minutes, leaving a distance of dozens of kilometers, and then her toes slightly touched the surface of the water, gasping for breath. Big sister. A crisp voice also appeared in Mu Yingying's ears instantly. Then Mu Yingying also saw this. The water surface in front of her was spinning, and the center of the rotation was that little Loli. Damn it. This time, Mu Yingying also understood the seriousness of the matter, and immediately her beautiful eyes sank slightly, and then she stared at little Loli intently. Big sister, why can't you run away? Because I'm the witch in this Xianling Imperial Pond. After the little Loli finished speaking, a strange smile appeared on the corner of her mouth, and the next moment, there was a terrifying wave in her pupils. On the witch's body, those big watery eyes, for some unknown reason, actually spun round and round. The next moment, Mu Yingying also fell into a sluggishness, and was out of control. Big sister, now we can be together forever. The witch also laughed strangely a few times, and then walked towards where Mu Yingying was. What the witch just performed was one of his charm techniques. This charm technique has a great success rate for those whose strength is lower than her own, so Mu Yingying had no defenses, so she was also caught. At this moment, Mu Yingying stood on the water surface slightly sluggishly, with her eyes open, but motionless, like a statue. Big sister, let's go, I'll take you to my palace. We'll be together forever. The witch was also close to Mu Yingying, only to realize that the woman exuded an extremely holy aura, as beautiful as a fairy who doesn't eat fireworks. After doing all this, the witch also raised her chubby palm and just wanted to hold Mu Yingying, but a terrifying voice echoed in this space. Move her. Death. Above the water surface, the space was also distorted, and then an extremely hot wave was emitted from the distorted space. The flame power appears strangely black, but the damage to the witch is not low at all. The next moment, in the twisted space, a black flame with a destructive aura also appeared out of thin air, and then smashed viciously on the witch's body. The power of holy flame. At this moment, the witch also had a rare solemnity on her face. Because of the attack of the black flame just now, Yu reading has blocked all the escape routes around her. At this time, the witch has various degrees of damage all over her body. That chubby palm is also constantly bleeding black blood. Damn it. It's really unlucky. After the witch finished speaking, she no longer hesitated, and she suddenly covered her head and plunged into the water. One strike. Seriously injured. The power of this black flame is so terrifying. On the 7th floor of the underground palace, a certain space here is also distorted. At this time, a huge figure penetrated by chains, emitting extremely terrifying black flames from top to bottom. Yingying, hurry up. A voice was also introduced into the distorted space, and the distorted space was suddenly closed at the next moment. What did you just do? The next moment, a breath like a waking giant dragon suddenly sounded on the 7th floor of the underground palace. Ha ha ha. Human old dog. It's not that easy to devour this king. The figure whose body was penetrated by chains also laughed. Humph. You won't be able to jump for long. The mysterious old man didn't care about that. The next moment, the 7th floor of the underground palace also returned to calm, but the corner of the mouth of the figure penetrated by countless chains seemed to be whispering something. This video will end here.